Good day everyone, we are the Group 7. I am Deck Cadet Oponda Joshua, and along with my teammates, Deck Cadet Warren Paulican and Deck Cadet Ortega Cerlo Jr., we are here to discuss under the course Mtec 102 Prelim Period Week 2 Session 2. Our topic for today would be procedures for safe mooring and deployment and monitoring of moorings for cargo ship. So here is our course outcome, is to have basic knowledge on the procedures in safe mooring. Learning outcome. At the end of the session, the students shall be able to recognize safe procedures in mooring deployment and monitoring. Importance of the topic. Mooring can be a very hazardous operation unless simple and effective safety procedures are followed. Mooring accidents are always on the list of personal injury accidents, often resulting in severe injuries or even fatalities. Through this, safety on board while mooring deployment and monitoring is taught. Moreover, mooring and anchoring operations are one of the critical and hazardous tasks routinely carried out on ships. Mooring arrangement, the requirement of mooring equipment, and local weather conditions differ from port to port. Careful pre-planning before any mooring operation is therefore essential. In the past, many fatal injuries and even death of crew being reported due to unsafe mooring practices on board. So deployment and monitoring of moorings. The master should ensure that mooring operations, including interaction with tugs, are carried out carefully, and the following items are appropriately addressed. So the first is that suitable planning and supervision. Second, proper communication. Third, competency of personnel. Fourth, sufficient members in the mooring teams. And lastly, familiarity with any specific shore requirements relating to shore moorings, passing traffic, and tidal weather conditions. So let's have Deck Cadet Ortega for his part.
So for the continuation of Mr. Oponda's report, so before arrival, the berth deck crew should arrange all mooring lines in such manner so these are readily available to deploy. So these are the mooring lines explained. First, rest line. So these are the leading ashore as perpendicular to the ship fore and aft line. It also restrains the ship in one direction. Second, headlines. So mooring lines leading ashore from the fore end or forecastle of a ship, often at an angle of 45 degrees to the fore and aft line. Third, spring lines. Mooring lines leading in a nearly fore and aft line direction, so the purpose of which is to prevent longitudinal movement of a ship while in the berth. It also restrains in the vessels in two directions. So head springs prevent forward motion and back springs aft motion. Fourth, mooring lines leading ashore from after the end of poop of a ship, often in a direction of 45 degrees to the fore and aft line. So next, the safety of crew during mooring operations. So the company risk assessment procedure shall be utilized to ensure that all during anticipated mooring arrangements and equipment use, the safety of the crew is ensured. So one of the good example for this about mooring arrangement and preparation on board with particular emphasis on is tanker vessels. So they use remote control position for operating winches. Second, clear layout on deck prior operations. Third, the use of personal protective equipment. Fourth, identification and monitoring of dangerous zones during mooring operations. And lastly, quick and close communication between stations. So mooring operation on port. So the master should ensure that all important factors affecting safe mooring of the vessel throughout the duration of port stay are monitored and recorded. So these may include, first, weather condition, both present and forecasted. Second, tide and current ranges. Third, traffic movement in the vicinity, where it is also applicable at all. So fourth, interval of mooring patrols depending upon above factors. So that will be my report. The next will be report by my fellow member.
So next, maintenance of mooring equipment on tankers. Brake testing. Mooring equipment on board should be maintained in good working condition so as to secure safety in mooring operations. Planned maintenance schedules include a requirement for annual brake testing of all mooring winches using the test kit provided on board. This includes testing brake holding power, rendering an adjustment to ensure rendering of mooring winch brakes at optimum stress to reduce the risk of injury from an overstressed mooring. So, you should conduct a brake testing to ensure that the mooring equipment is at good working condition. Next, replacement of wires, ropes, and tails on tankers. For all mooring ropes, wires, tails, and shackles, a record of certificates, replacement date, and specific winch to which they are fitted, it is to be maintained. The PMS procedure includes inspection intervals for all mooring equipment and also covers end-to-end and renewal procedures. Specific intensive vessel trading patterns may warrant to more frequent change of spares such as mooring rope tails. Such interval may be shorter than that prescribed in UCIMF guidelines. Standards for replacing mooring wires on some tankers designated as below. So, on head and stern lines, you should replace it when it reaches 7.5 years and reversing end to end when it reaches for about 3.75 years. On spring and breast lines, we should replace it when it reaches 5 years and reverse end to end for over 2.5 years. Next, maintenance of mooring equipment on container ships. The characteristic of mooring ropes below mentioned in use should be acknowledged by all staffs who are engaged in the mooring operation. So first is the material and type of thread. So you should know the material and type of thread of the mooring ropes. And the safe working loads of the mooring ropes, stretching ratio, anti-abrasion, water tightness against seawater, and etc. So in conclusion, for all mooring ropes, a record of certificates, replacement date, and specific winches to which they are fitted is to be maintained. If mooring ropes are observed that it has a major damage or heavy corrosion, we should report it to the company for replacement. So that would be all for our report. I hope that you've learned something. Thank you for listening.